a bit of a preview now. We bring in the Hall of Famer, Larry Murphy. Larry, great to have you here. You know a thing or two about winning some championships in your playing career. So what's the mindset going into this weekend, 3-Ice Championship, as the head coach?
Well, Erica, it's just be best prepared as you can, physically, mentally. Like during this week, the guys, of course, have had 9 days off since the last tournament, so it's upon them to keep themselves in great condition. Right? When we get to Philadelphia for Saturday afternoon, it's just a case of looking at, there's a few points that you've always got to keep in the back of your mind with this game. I mean, yeah, it's exciting, it's run and gun hockey, but still, I mean, you rely on good, strong fundamentals in order to win. So you just hope the guys are best prepared. They're ready to go. The games aren't very long. They're only 16-minute games. So there's no, you don't have time to feel your way around in this one. You got to be ready to go when the pucks drop.
So, I mean, dating back to when you were playing, and one thing I think that's never really changed inside NHL locker rooms is kind of you got to give and take, and you get bragging rights. So how has it been? Like, would you guys talk a little smack behind closed doors with each other as far as what teams are doing well? We said you're the #1 seed, so you do have bragging rights.
Hey, well, Mike, yeah, we do have bragging rights, but that, of course, that can, we don't succeed this weekend, then of course we got nothing left. But it's interesting. You talk about the dynamics in the dressing room. Yeah, there's of course there's trash talking during the game on the bench, but because of we have 7 players on our team. We have 6 skaters and 1 goaltender, and what it does is these guys become very tight. It's a really interesting dynamic. I've seen it now in 2 seasons where basically day one you shake hands, how are you? By the end, these guys are so close and they rely so heavily. The thing is, you've got 6 skaters. There's nowhere to hide. I don't have the option of sitting a guy out. If he's not, at the top of his game, if he's not, mentally, committed to this, he'll stick out like a sore thumb. And these guys feel a huge responsibility now to each other. So I don't expect that to be a problem at all.
Larry, I got to see the 3-Ice when it was in Newark a couple of weeks ago, and it was really entertaining. It was really fun to watch, these young guys out there. I was thinking to myself, I was like, boy, that must be so much fun for these young guys who are in great shape to play and have all that ice to work with. Let me ask you, you're a Hall of Famer. You won multiple Stanley Cups. You played for a long, long time in the NHL. When you were a young player, would you have liked to play in something like this, or you would have been like, maybe, that's not for me?
I love it because it's fast paced. It's basically puck control. When you're out there and you get a hold of that puck, you got to do everything you can to maintain it. And it's just, and that's the way I love playing a game. I always wanted to play puck control. So I think I would have really enjoyed the opportunity to play in this league. Of course, it wasn't around when I was there, and it's interesting. You talk about you saw the game, EJ. You saw it in New Jersey. It's if you'd seen it from the week 1 that we played, this is last year, to where the league is at today. There's been a huge progression, and it's relentless in terms of tempo. But I think the coaching now has become a little bigger part of the process, so to speak. And I know now I have a lot more to say to the guys now before every game than I did when I first started, because we're all kind of in this together. Mm-hmm. And so it's something that they've taken the NHL, the best, most exciting part of NHL, 3-on-3 overtime, and and expanded this into a league.
Yeah, kind of building off of that, too, it certainly seems like it's a lot of fun for you. You talk about the growth that not only the players, but you guys have coaches have also experienced over these first 2 seasons. What was maybe the one thing that's jumped out the most about how fun it is for these fans to be involved in and watching? Because, yes, it feels like overtime 3-on-3 all the time. There's a lot of unique rules as well.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, Erica, spot on. I mean, that's the whole every rule was put in basically to keep the flow of play going. So as I said, 8-minute halves, but there's no whistles. I mean, the only time there's a stoppage is for a penalty shot, and that's for normal hockey, infractions, plus also icing. You can't ice the puck in this league, or you have to give up a penalty shot. So, and things like the mesh behind the net, behind the glass on the end zones, it hits that, falls back on the ice. Play continues on. So, and score a goal, pull a puck out of the net, go behind the goal line, start again. So it's just taking that 3-on-3 NHL and just kind of ramping it up, so to speak. And I tell you, these guys, they come in well conditioned. These guys are all pros. They play in the U.S. A lot of them play in Europe, and with only 6 guys and with the pace, it never stops. I mean, these guys. I don't know how many have come up to me and say, there's no way we can replicate this sort of tempo in our own preparation, just because you just can't. I mean, you just can't unless you're playing it. You just can't really work yourself that hard.
Larry, it's funny because I mentioned I saw it in Newark. I watched last year. I watched a bunch of the games were on TV on the CBS Sports Network. I believe the final on Saturday is on CBS, so that's something for fans can watch that game on Saturday on CBS. But it does seem like they've streamlined things more, and I agree with you. I think it's a better product today than it was last year because, of course, you're going to figure things out, what works, what doesn't work. I want to ask you, though, you have the #1 seed. Give a shout out to some of your guys. Who are your top players? What's their background?
Well, I think that the one guy that stands out for me is Hank Crone. Played last year in the East Coast League. Now this year he's going to play in the American Hockey League. He got signed. I mean, they watch. These scouts watch these guys play, and he ended up being the leading scorer for our team. He's a guy that stands out. He was my first round pick. Just a couple of shootout goals for me. That's the one guy. Colton Hargrove, I got to mention him. He's kind of the captain. You'd say the unofficial captain of the team. I had him last year. He returned to our team this year. He's a guy that kind of in the dressing room. He's kind of the take charge guy. So I mean, I got to cast all 7 guys. They have to contribute.
Yeah,
that's the key. I can't have 6 of the 7 guys going. That 7th guy will kill me if he's not putting up the potential. And that's why I touched on earlier. It's huge pressure on these guys because the other guys in the room are counting on. When you walk in that room, they're counting on you to come and bring your best. Because if you don't, it's almost impossible to overcome. You need you got 7 guys, and you need them all going.
Oh, no, I love that. Hey, Murph, we can go 100 different ways with you. I would be remiss not to ask you about the team that you cover in the Detroit Red Wings and the great relationship, obviously, you have with that organization. Off-season ads for them, I mean, getting Alex DeBrincat, adding some on the back end. Where do you think this team's at heading into the season?
Well, I think they're legitimate playoff discussion. I mean, unfortunately, the East is very competitive, so I mean, they can even have a better season next year and still come up short. But I mean, Yzerman's done a tremendous job. This is the 2nd year in a row where he's really made an impact. We're going to see 5 or 6 new guys in the lineup, and then definitely upgrades to this team. He's opened the vaults, the bank vault, so to speak. They've taken on more payroll. But having said that, I mean, the contracts have all been structured very smartly. He's not going to have there's no contract that's going to come back and bite him down the road. So it's just teams progressing. If they don't make the playoffs, they're going to be very disappointed, I think. And they, last year they just, of course, publicly they'd say, well, we should make the playoffs. We should make the playoffs. But in reality, they thought, well, if we can just stay in the hunt, which they did till the end. And of course, just a few weeks before the trading deadline, the wheels kind of came off, so to speak, against Ottawa. But this year, I know for a fact that the expectation is if we don't get in the playoffs, we're going to be disappointed.
Hey, Larry, before we let you go, I got to ask you, you're one of the great defensemen ever to play this game. Erik Karlsson just got traded about a week ago now. Karlsson and Letang in Pittsburgh. You played in Pittsburgh. How do you think that's going to work? 2 right-shot guys that are used to playing a lot.
Well, I mean, they can each play 30 minutes. So, I mean, there's going to be, I feel sorry for the third pair, but that's the reality of bringing him in, and you can see what they've done in Pittsburgh. Of course, last year when they decided to sign Malcolm and Letang and Crosby, that they weren't, they're pushing the rebuild off, and this is the only way I think they can go is they've really got to go for it now because. The window is maybe 1-2 years, maybe 3 years, maybe that they're going to be in the hunt. So, hey, why don't I make a big splash now? You got those 3 great players. Why not compliment them and give the fans? That's great for the fans of Pittsburgh because they've just shown them right there that, boy, we're going for it. We're not going into any sort of rebuild mode.
Yeah, lots to be excited around the league. Larry Murphy, we look forward to watching you on Red Wings broadcast this season. And, of course, wish you best of luck in the 3A's championship.
Go get 'em.
Coming up on
Yes.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Thanks for the time.